Well, let's talk now about securing legal aid in Ghana, getting access to that, even as we also contemplate our case tracking systems. We know our court system sometimes, and that's why we introduce technology and all of that. There have been numerous instances where we have had cases lasting, for as long as can be. How do we deal with some of these bottlenecks? Well, we have Godfred Nyako Yao Berima. He is with the law firm Yao Berima and Co. He joins me in the studio as we have a discussion on some of these all-important matters. Godfred, a very good morning to you.
Ben, good morning and good morning to your viewers as well.
And the name actually is Godfred Enin
Nyako, yes.
Right, yes, Godfred Enin Nyako. So let's talk about, generally, USAID getting on board this entire enterprise. The question is why?
Yes, we all know the objective of USAID. In fact, they have been collaborating with the judicial system for some time now. They have been doing the justice reform system. They have been doing a lot of reforms, especially in our criminal justice system. This time around, they are coming together with Crime Check Foundation and other NGOs to try and advocate for the rights of criminals or accused persons who may not have the rights, whose rights may have been infringed during the period of their trial. So the main objective is to try and limit the time frame by which trials are conducted and also prevent the situation where accused persons stay on remand for years without their cases being caught. Sometimes the cases or the dockets can even get lost. So that's the situation.
Sometimes interestingly. Sometimes to pay you.
In fact, sometimes we know certain things we can't see on live on TV. But it's also a fact that some of the
But I would say it because we all know it. So let's not pretend we don't.
Yes. So this is the main objective of USAID, the justice reform system, trying to prevent some of these situations from happening. And we are trying our best to reform the system.
Okay. So tell us about this case tracking system. Let's start from there. My layman's understanding of it means that, well, the cases are initiated. We must track them just as you would track whatever package you are sending via some of these agencies to some other country to ensure that they arrive at their destination in time.
You are right.
Okay.
So you should rather propagate that it is of the Crime Check Foundation.
So tell us more.
So it's mainly the USAID collaborating with the Judicial Service and other foundations to promote the rights of accused persons. So the main problem that we are trying to solve is to prevent the situation where accused persons or people who have been accused of crimes will stay on remand or within that system, the criminal justice system, for years without their cases being caught. So this case tracking system is to prevent that situation. So when the case is brought to court, after the police have arrested you and brought to court, there's a spreadsheet that all the criminal courts are giving, especially the clerks there, that start tracking the cases from the day you are brought to court. So throughout the bail application, to the time for case management conference, to trial stage, it is tracked, and we are giving timelines. So previously, the cases were not giving timelines, but now the judges have been giving specific instructions to give timelines for cases. So maybe when you are brought to court immediately, the cases are called. Bail application shouldn't take more than 3 days. The case management conference shouldn't take more than 5 days, and the trial shouldn't take more than maybe 30 days. So this is a system that has been put in place. So
in other words, everybody right through the justicial system, including maybe even investigators, are put on the spot so that this is not a case that is going to run indefinitely.
No.
You have a timeline within which to operate.
Yes, there's a timeline. And also a software has been created where we can track the stage at which every case is. So sitting at the back of my desk, I can track at which stage every single criminal cases at this time. So the spreadsheet,
all of them.
We are rolling it throughout the country. It's not everywhere now, but we are trying our best to roll within the country by the end of the year. So that's the system now. So the spreadsheet is being...
So just to clarify,
yes.
it means that when you're done rolling out by end of year, you will be able to track all the cases, criminal cases.
All criminal cases. For now, our attention is on the criminal cases. So all criminal cases can be tracked so that we don't have the situation where the dockets will get lost or we can't find where the dockets are. So the spreadsheet also contains information as to who and at what time the person handles every docket. So when the docket is moved from the docket session to the courtroom, whoever handles it will sign against his name or her name, sign at which time the case or the docket came to him, and then the case or the time that the docket left his desk. so that we are able to track at every point in time where a particular docket is. So that's the system that is put in place. So the case tracking system is basically to track the movement of dockets, also track the time frame by which cases are conducted in court. So it's part of the broader case management system that the court is implementing.
So this is very interesting because, like you mentioned, in years past, you could be on remand for
years.
I mean, perpetually.
Yes.
You would go to some prisons,
yes,
and you would see people whose cases had never been heard. There was no conclusion to it. And maybe even you would find out that the penalty for what they had supposedly done,
they've exceeded it.
They've exceeded the time,
yes,
and they are still rotting in the prison or in some sort of custody.
So that's the reason why the USAID decided to partner judicial service. Because sometimes, as you are saying, people spend years on remand. Maybe their crime for which they've been charged is maybe 2 years or 1 year, but they may have spent 5 years on remand when their case hasn't been tried. So, in fact, it is a very good system we are trying to roll throughout the country, and that we expect the media to also support us.
Right.
Let people know that this is the system the judicial service has put in place. So the old age system where criminals would rot in jail or accused persons would rot in jail for years, the system has changed.
So we must all know that as well, so that people's rights would, because people would still think that things are what they used to be. So it's important we do this so that people will know.
Especially family members of accused persons.
Right.
They can also go to the judicial service and track the cases
so individuals can also access it.
Yes, right. But then you have to go to the judicial service. Every district where the court or the case is being tried, you go there, you ask the registrar to inform you of the status of a particular case. They'll let you know this.
Does this system, the tracking system, does it also involve other details of criminal procedure? So I'm saying here, think about, and I don't want to be specific, but think about cases where people, apart from the docket, people would tell you, oh, my autopsy report and tied to, let's say, a murder case. Oh, it was on my laptop and the laptop is missing. Those kinds of things. You know exactly what I'm referring
to.
So, does it inculcate those as well, so that all the details are in there, and regardless of who is off the case and who is now on, or what someone has lost, we still have a trail to follow?
Yes. Currently, the system makes provision for tracking the status of the cases. But then if you know where the case is at the moment, you can formally apply to the court to give you the proceedings, record of proceedings of the particular case.
Okay.
So although the system is not designed to give particular details as to how the case is being tried, you can individually apply to the court to get a record of proceedings for a particular case. That can be done by relatives of accused persons. If you think your case is the family member's case is being delayed unduly, you can apply to the court for the proceedings, and then you can also follow up and make sure that things are done properly. But so the general overview is to make sure that justice delivery is done in accordance with protection of the people's rights, because you all have the right to be tried within a reasonable time, which is very important. A reasonable time. So reasonable time means that your rights must be protected. If you are being tried for an offense, the court must try you within the time frame that you all understand the Constitution has given provision for. So that's what we are doing.
Are there any other benefits to this system that, as we roll out, we seek or we shall be getting? Are there any other benefits, apart from what you've mentioned to me? Maybe you are forecasting that as you fine-tune it, there will be extra benefits. What are we looking at? So
the other benefit we expect to get from the system is to reduce the number of cases in our courtrooms, because that's a major challenge. Cases have been adjourned for longer times because the courts are overburdened with cases. So if you're able to give time frame within which...
We've been forced to even sit some weekends, for example.
Sometimes, as I speak to you, tomorrow I have 8 o'clock trial. Ordinarily, a case starts at 9. But the court has forced me to come at 8 o'clock to do a criminal trial, because there's a case tracking system that makes the judge, or gives an obligation to the judge to finish the trial within a month.
So now they are also pushed.
Yes, so sometimes let's go to court 8 o'clock, maybe before the 9 o'clock that the court is supposed to start. So all of us have been pushed to a wall to make sure that cases are done within a time frame. That's what is important.
As citizens, as media entities, like we are sitting here doing, what is expected of us in this respect?
Yes, the media, I expect the media to propagate the reforms in the criminal system. You all know that a lot of the information that comes out are all bad news. But then the system is being reformed gradually. Right. Secondly, I want us to know our rights. If as I speak to you right now, you can then be able to follow a particular criminal case that is going on at every point in time. So if you know that you have this right, it's good for us. Do you understand? If you have this right, it's good for us. So this is the major benefit that we expect to get after the system has been rolled out. Mm.
Yeah. We're also going to be talking about the access to justice.
Yes.
And they say the wheels of justice grind slowly. But still very fine. But sometimes people will also on the other end tell you that justice delayed is justice denied. So let's talk about access to legal aid in Ghana. Where do we find ourselves? I mean, what is the status quo?
The Legal Aid Commission has been there for some time now. People know of the work that they do. Specifically, it's for people who are not able to access the activities of private legal practitioners because of their financial obligations.
Right.
So there are two main criteria to come under the broad Legal Aid Commission requirements. First, you must come within the means criteria. When I say the means criteria, it must be within the minimum wage criteria. Okay. So if you exceed the minimum wage, you may not qualify ordinarily for legal aid services. So when you pick, before you are...
So it means these people must be at or below minimum wage?
At or below the minimum wage, ordinarily. Right. There are other conditions where you can apply to the board to consider your situation, although you exceed the minimum wage criteria. But ordinarily, you must be within the minimum wage criteria. So when you apply to a legal aid, you pick an application form. You state your name, your age, your personal information. You also state your income brackets. So the income you make in a month, the work you do. So there's a selection panel that would evaluate the cases that come before them. So it's not every application that comes for them, they pick it. So based on the criteria, the selection panel will select whether you come within the framework of the Legal Aid Commission.
So it means that you could be within the minimum wage bit, but you may still not be.
But you may still not be, because it's not every case that they also handle. Okay. In general sense, they handle all criminal cases. Even in murder cases, there's an obligation, murder, manslaughter, felony cases, there's an obligation on the state to provide you with a lawyer. But in all other criminal cases too, legal aid, when you apply to them that don't have a lawyer, there's an obligation on them to also represent you when you come within the minimum wage bracket. And then secondly, there are some there are some civil cases that they do handle. Basically, they handle landlord tenancy matters, maintenance and child custody matters. They handle adoption matters. They also handle matrimonial matters and inheritance matters. So when you come within this category, you can apply. You know that I specifically left out land matters. But that is what is predominant in our courts now.
Right.
So ordinarily, legal aid do not handle land matters. But then when you have a land matter, and you come within the
minimum, usually be money matter.
It's money matter.
So you guys, I can see why you stay away from it.
It's money matter. So when you come within the brackets and you have a land issue, you can apply to a legal aid board.
Right.
So in that situation, there will be an arrangement. That's where the case is successful at the end. The revenue that comes out of it, or the money that comes out of it.
Hey,
they are taking care of the expenses involved.
Right. But I think only fair.
Yes, it's fair. It's fair that the state has pushed money into represent you in your private land matter, so you should be able to pay for the expenses at the end.
Okay. I mean, when you're arrested, in most jurisdictions, sometimes here, but the Miranda rights, Miranda warning, you have the right not to speak on certain matters and all of that, because anything you say can and would be used against you. But for people who are arrested, what are their rights? And what does the law say? What are the provisions in the law concerning arrested people?
Okay, so when you have been arrested, the police or the arresting party should immediately inform you of the reasons for your arrest. Somebody may have made a complaint against you. So they should have informed you at the time of your arrest the reason why they arrested you.
We're arresting you because you were holding a firearm.
Or because there's been a complaint against you that you've broken into somebody's home. So they must state the reason why they are arresting you. Okay. Normally, in a setting, it is not done ordinarily, but they are supposed to do that. So that's why we are also advocating for people to know their rights. If someone is going to arrest you, you must ask them the reason for your arrest, which is very important. And then secondly, they must also inform you of your rights not to self-incriminate.
Right.
Not volunteer information that will self-incriminate you. Because that is a basic right.
Right.
If at the time of your arrest, you are not represented by counsel, you must inform you of your right to have counsel of your choice. Right. So these are basic rights that are available to all people who have been arrested at every point in time.
Let's talk about bail.
Yes.
And it's a crucial matter. The hours you can be kept.
Yeah.
And the landmark cases when it comes to bailable and non-bailable offences are sorted out a matter of things. And recently we saw that coming into play with the Oliver Barker-Vomao situation. But first of all, I know a lot of people, when they hear that, surety and all of that, they think you must pay these sums of money. So break it down for us. Is bail free or not? And what are some of the bail conditions in Ghana?
Okay, so let me start by saying that there are two main. When I talk about bail, you have the police inquiry bail and the court bail.
Right. So
when you have been arrested by the police, and then within the investigation, they know that they cannot present you before the court within 48 hours. There's an obligation on them to give you what you call police inquiry bail.
Okay.
So that police inquiry bill, they may demand for sureties, either one or two sureties or more, depending on the particular offense. They can also do a self-recognizance bill. Right. Normally, it's given to people of political power and also professionals because your availability is assured. Right. So bail is just to ensure that you attend court or you attend the police station or whenever call is made on you to attend. So when it comes to bail conditions, normally police inquiry bail, they don't give bail conditions. They ask you to bring sureties.
Right.
The sureties, normally what they do ordinarily is to also visit the official residence of the sureties to make sure that if they can't get you, the surety will produce you.
Right.
So there's no monetary requirement when you are being given bail. That's what we must emphasize on. The police must not demand money from you or the accused person or the person who has been arrested at that point in time before they give you police inquiry bail. Sometimes they may say that they need money to take for transport,
right,
to go and visit or to go check the residence of the sureties. For that,
is that legitimate?
It's not. It shouldn't
because
be.
The state should.
It shouldn't be.
Fuel vehicles and all of that.
It shouldn't be because the state must have vehicles and because we fuel it. We just not taxpayer money.
Even but to stretch it, even worse. Sometimes we've heard that you are under attack and you call and they tell you must.
Yes, my recent experience with the police last week indicate that nowadays they don't meet the demand for the transport. But there are some stations that also, because of the unavailability of fuel or vehicle at that particular time, they may demand for transport to visit or to check the residence.
So what do ordinary citizens do in that regard? I mean, if it's going to inure to your own benefit, and if this is a station where they obviously lack the logistics, what do you do?
I would say, if I'm representing you, that if in actual sense the police doesn't have the vehicle at that particular point in time, you also need a bail. You don't want to sleep in the cells at that point. So if you have the money to take care, or if you can get a taxi yourself or an Uber, and then take the police to the official residence of the sureties. But ordinarily, they are not supposed to do that. But in a situation where they don't have the car or the vehicle or the fuel to run it, you can take care of the transport cost at that particular point. But it shouldn't have been so because the state is supposed to finance the police.
Okay.
In terms of all logistics.
Anything else on bail?
Yeah, so I spoke about police inquiry bail. There's also the court bail. So when the police present you before the court, if you are represented by a counsel, your counsel will make application for bail at that particular point in time. Even if you are not represented by a counsel, but the court itself will determine the bail issue. So when the court grants you bail, ordinarily it comes with bail conditions. The bail conditions can be either justified or not justified. Okay. Sometimes the justification goes with securing the bail sum with a landed property. It doesn't mean that you pay the bill sum. When this is a bill sum of 200,000, it doesn't mean you're going to pay the 200,000. But if you say 200,000 with justification, it means that you have to have a landed property whose value is equal to the 200,000 or more. So that is what is when it comes to the court bill, as we stated. The court can also ask you to provide sureties whose minimum salary is not below a certain range.
Right.
It's all supposed to ensure that you come to court when you are asked to do so.
And that if you abscond,
the state can fall on the shoulders.
Let's talk about, let me just go back briefly. So for those whose rights, for those who are arrested, whose rights are abused, how do they seek redress? What are the mechanisms in place?
So the first mechanism is to get a lawyer if you have the financial ability to do that.
Right.
There are other mechanisms.
And if you don't seek legal aid?
Yes, and if you don't seek legal aid, because the SHRAJ is also there. You shouldn't forget that that is one of their major functions.
Right.
The SHRAJ is supposed to handle certain issues. Corruption, abuse of power, those issues are there. Also, where the police has abused your rights. Maybe they've kept you for more than 48 hours. Maybe they've beaten you in the cells. Maybe they did not present you before the court at the right time. Or their mode of treating you wasn't in accordance with the law. You make a formal petition to SHRAJ for SHRAJ to determine the issue. So SHRAJ also has that power, just that they don't have prosecutorial power.
Right.
When it comes to prosecution, they have to fall on the Attorney General. So those rights are there. The Commission on Human Rights and Treasurer SHRAJ, even the police itself has an internal mechanism that ensures that officers do not abuse the rights of accused persons or people who have been arrested. So PIPs, they are there. Sometimes you also write a formal petition to the IGP to set up an investigation team to investigate a particular situation. So those issues are all there, which we, through this medium and other mediums, we expect citizens to know of their rights under the law. So,
what is the process for filing complaints, for example, if you're arrested, and especially when it comes to police and maybe supposed brutality? What is the process, very quickly?
To follow? PIPs, they have a form. When you go there, there's a form that...
I think they've changed now, Police Bureau or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So that you are used to the PIPs, the name.
Yeah.
And also, there's a formal petition that you can write. I've done that several times. So you write a formal petition complaining about the incidents to PIPs, and then they will take it from there. As I said, legal aid, they have a form that you pick. The form, you give all the details that are necessary to give. The selection panel will take it from there. And so the SHRAJ also has a petition that when you write to them through a petition format, you will get assistance that you need from the SHRAJ. These systems are there to ensure that the justice delivery is done in accordance with what the Constitution has told us to do, to protect the rights of ordinary citizens.
You mentioned SHRAJ. You also mentioned the Legal Aid Commission.
Yes.
What, in respect of the Legal Aid Commission, what processes must be followed if you want, their assistance?
Yeah, so they have district officers in all the districts in Ghana. When you approach them, whether you are literate or not, they will assist you to fill out the necessary requirements on their form. So when you fill in the necessary requirements, the selection panel, when you fall within the criteria, they invite you. Ordinarily, they also invite the person for whom you've made a complaint against. Let's say when it's a matrimonial matter, and you made a complaint against your husband, or when there's a child maintenance issue, they inform or they invite the person you've made a complaint against, for the person to come before them for a mediation process to take place. So they don't just rush to court. They go through a mediation process before, if the mediation doesn't work, they go to court to represent the person who applied for their services. That's what is done.
And what would you say is the crucial importance of the Legal Aid Commission, just for those watching to understand why we even have that commission?
Yes, the commission was mainly set up to protect the less earning citizen, the ordinary people who cannot access or who doesn't have the financial muscle to access the services of a lawyer. So where you don't earn enough or you are not even working and you are not able to seek services of a lawyer just because you don't have money, where your rights have been infringed upon, you apply to a Legal Aid Commission for redress. So they have competent lawyers who will represent you in court and do your case for you if you don't have money. That's the basic benefits or objective of the Legal Aid Commission.
Okay, so the Crime Check Foundation, partnering USAID on all of this.
Yes.
And two crucial things, just to rehash, we're looking at promoting the case tracking system, and we must all come on board and know about it. You never know when the long arms of the law will reach you or someone close to you, and then you may have to follow some of these processes, as well as access to legal aid.
Yes.
Any final comments as we wrap?
Yes, I would entreat ordinary citizens to demand for the protection of their rights. Where the state institutions, maybe the Ghana Police Service, BNI, where they arrest you, demand for your rights under the law. Because the law has made ample provision for you. Where you don't have money to seek legal services from a lawyer or private legal practitioner, the legal aid is there for you. Secondly, accused person, when you have been accused of offense and arrested and brought before the court, you also have, there's a system to protect your rights in court. So where the case is unduly delaying, your family relative or somebody who is closer to you can write a formal letter to the registrar of the court asking for the status of that particular case, so that they will know particularly where the case has reached through the case tracking system, which is very important.
Well,
I'm also grateful.
I salute you, sir. Thanks for coming. And of course, this is crucial information that we all need to know, maybe have on the back of our hands, all of us, all in some.
So the Crime Check Foundation, we've gone to various media houses, and we are still doing that to advocate for the rights of individuals.
All right. Yes. Godfred Enin Nyako, lawyer, and he is with Yao Berima & Co. Thank you so much for joining the conversation.
Thank you very much, sir.
Before we go, water is life. Water regulates your body temperature and keeps you alive and kicking. Awake is premium purified water treated through a strict purification process to ensure that every bottle on the market refreshes you better. We have the perfect sizes for all occasions, 330 ml and 500 ml bottles to fit your pockets and bags, 750 ml for the heavy drinkers and 1.5 liters for those who always want more, like me. We have introduced our special 19-liter jars for offices and homes as well. Take advantage. Now, you just need to stay awake with Awake Purified Drinking Water wherever you go. So come on, grab a bottle of Awake Water and get quality hydration. Awake Purified Drinking Water, one for life. Remember, for every bottle you purchase, an amount is donated to the National Cardiothoracic Center. It's produced by Casa Preco. For bulk purchases, please call them on 0262 351 251. 0262 351 251. Let's talk money. Did you know that the income of a young entrepreneur from some selected businesses is exempt from tax for 5 years? Any young entrepreneur engaged in manufacturing, information and communications technology, agro-processing, energy production, waste processing, tourism and the creative arts, horticulture and medicinal plants does not need to pay income tax on these activities for their first 5 years of operation. A young entrepreneur engaged in a business that enjoys an initial 5-year concession benefits from the following applicable tax rates for an additional 5 years. Are you ready? Accra and Tema, 15%. Other regional capitals outside the 3 northern regions, 12.5%. Outside the other regional capitals, 10%. And in the 3 northern regions, 5%. For further clarity and information, just reach out to your nearest GRA office. Ghana Revenue Authority, integrity, fairness, and service. And let me just add, you have to pay income tax on any income you earn in Ghana, even when you do not live in Ghana. When you earn any income through a business transaction, income tax must be paid by the business by withholding the tax amount and paying same to the GRA on your behalf. So when you hear of that, don't think that anybody is cheating you. My name is Benjamin Akakwo. Thank you for joining on the AM show. Our major news bulletins come your way at 10 and at noon. Let's connect same time tomorrow. Good day.